Carmina sits alone on the rugged coast and stares out into the bay. A cool wind whips and whistles around the rocks as the gulls chuckle. She closes her eyes, takes in a breath of the salty air, lies back on the grass. She lets thoughts of her mother leaving, of her father staying, leave her mind. Focuses on the softness of the grass in her hands. The gentle chattering of the gulls subsides, and a new, less familiar call assaults her ears. A guttural, urgent shouting. She opens her eyes, and for a moment she cannot see clearly, as if she had floated into the clouds above. She sits up and rubs her eyes, and the world comes into view. Gone are the lazily floating gulls. In their place, jagged, pitch-black birds, just like the ones she was sure she had seen outside her house. They shout with an unnerving urgency. She shoots her neck to her left, her right. Hundreds of them, standing all around her, flapping their wings, relentless. Overwhelmed, she grabs her backpack and begins sprinting to her house. She runs and runs until their calls sink under the crashing of the water and the shrieking of the wind. Mina? Mateus looks up at her from the floor, confused. Do you hear them, Mati? Those birds? Mateus looks at her, then Carmina sits alone on the rugged coast and stares out into the bay. A cool wind whips and whistles around the rocks as the gulls chuckle. She closes her eyes, takes in a breath of the salty air, lies back on the grass. She lets thoughts of her mother leaving, of her father staying, leave her mind. Focuses on the softness of the grass in her hands. The gentle chattering of the gulls subsides, and a new, less familiar call assaults her ears. A guttural, urgent shouting. She opens her eyes, and for a moment she cannot see clearly, as if she had floated into the clouds above. She sits up and rubs her eyes, and the world comes into view. Gone are the... Her house sits silent. It has sat silent since Matthias passed. Carmina goes to school. Her father goes to work. Carmina gets home, she eats, locks herself in her room. Her father gets home late at night and goes straight to bed. When they do speak, he demonstrates cruelty unlike anything from before. It's the anniversary of Matthias's death, and she is called in sick to school. The crows in the tree left that day. Back when it would sit on her windowsill, it scared her. But now that it was gone, she feels more alone than ever. She stares at a blank pad, her last pencil behind her ear, a cheap black pen in her hand. But nothing comes out. Completely bereft of ideas, Carmina goes to the backyard, breaks the pen, smears it over the tree's bark, presses the paper against the tree, squeezes it until her knuckles start to ache, removes the crumpled sheet. Almost none of the ink transfers. The smear on her paper is barely recognizable. As she walks back to the house, she hears a car pull up in front. She ducks, knowing she'll have to talk to him and likely get yelled at if he sees her here in the morning. The night she had gone to the bridge changed everything. At her lowest, the bird from the tree came back. So did the others. They screamed like they had on the coast, but she felt no fear. She felt seen, not observed, just seen. Escaping the city was surprisingly easy. Her father expected nothing. She walked right past the school that day to the port, stowed away on a small cargo vessel. She would have been terrified before of her father, of the shipworkers, of the men in the black trucks. None of it scared her now. She was not alone. Perhaps Matthias sent the birds. As the boat arrives in the city, she remembers her mother speaking of a school here, an art school. She marches straight into that school, finds the art faculty, walks into the first open office she sees, starts taking out her latest works, ink on parchment, out of her faded childhood backpack. Pia? For the first time in ages, she freezes. Her mother's name. Excuse me? She looks up at the desk. A man in his 70s with a thick beard and a dusty tweed jacket stares back at her. I'm sorry, you just look so much like an old student of mine. While she is too young to enroll in the school, Dr. Figueroa has put aside time to mentor Carmina. He tells her of her mother, whose own undeniable artistic talent could have changed the nation, of her mother's disappearance from the art scene 20 years ago. He tells her Dr. Figueroa went missing that day. A lot of people did. Carmina knows she'll never hear from him again. Everyone knows. Her new family begins to atomize in front of her eyes, retreating into their individual rooms, their individual practices. Everyone is afraid to express themselves. She desperately tries to reach out to them, first individually, then collectively. The last thing she wants is another quiet home. She organizes a house meeting in the salon. Even Flores slouches in her chair. I want to talk about the show. Tomas, The textile artist and dressmaker snorts. Ah, Mina, you cannot be serious. Florian